Hey all, welcome to Circular Tone, and today thrash, my speciality. Most of my videos have been about thrash and typo negative, let's face it. So in the past, this time I've done Canadian thrash bands before. I mean, Voivod are kind of, to label them just as thrash, chaotic, punky, futuristic, thrashy, crossover, even blackened moments in that early Voivod, right? I've done Voivod guitars, I've done Voivod bass, I think I've done two on the bass of the blacky blower sound. I've done Annihilator. But today is Razor, and before we get to it, I'd like to thank my patrons of Tone. Yes, I got two new ones. One returning, Garrett. I don't have to look at my phone because Garrett's an old schooler, so he took a few months off. Now he's back into the Valhalla sausages. And we've also got Based Finger. So thank you guys. You keep these speakers flapping. Once I reach 50 paid patrons, I'll cut my strings. Razor, Razor, Razor. Now, I have to admit, despite me being Captain Thrash, all right, I was never a Razor fan. So I got to know them after I'd moved to America, and I was on the Thrash Unlimited forums, and people were like, Razor, 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 Razor. And then I listened to them, and it sounded derivative and dated, right? I thought, what's the big deal? This isn't much of a revelation, you know? Until I did some research, and they came out the same year. They actually become a band the same year that Kill 'Em All came out. And then a year later, they did this album. How fast is that shit? I would have lapped that up. I think they come out around the same time as Whiplash. And that was similar, like Whiplash blew my mind. I heard about Whiplash because they were a big, shiny American band. But you'd be surprised at the amount of hardcore thrash fans in the UK that never heard of Razor. I respect them posthumously because of how early they were. I thought they were like late 80s, early 90s. I thought they were coming out around that time. They were kind of Canadian, like extreme music innovators because they came out around the same time as, I think, Voivod probably beat them to the punch, I think, when it comes to releases. They were knocking around the same time. So respect. I mean, I always say this. I always say I respect, like I said, it sounds derivative. My bad, because I respect the originators. I hate the copycats. So I put them in as a copycat, but they were like hyper speed, thrash, just like all balls out. They were so fast, it kind of didn't get tight, you know, like a Forbidden or something like that. But because they were so fast, man, for the time, for now, it's fast. So I'm hoping to get reacquainted with this band because I kind of like, it was just lack of knowledge and it wasn't my fault. And it probably wasn't Dave Carroll's fault. It was the label's fault for not pushing them in Europe. And the main man, the guy who started Razor, Dave Carlo, he admitted it was his mistake because he should have got out of Canada. Canada, there wasn't that much of a scene compared to Europe and the USA. Other bands got distributed way better, like Annihilator. I was an Annihilator fan as soon as the first album came out. I was a big fan. We all heard about Annihilator in the UK. Not a lot of people got to know about Razor. Tragically, Dave is practically blind now. He got cancer and it took his eyesight. What a cursed band. I mean, they used to have a second guitarist when they were doing the first EP, and he got hit by a car and died straight away. So that Dave Carroll actually had to do the solos on their first EP that they released. And he admits it that you can tell it's not like flowy because he kind of had to do it on the spot. Honestly, Razor You can put them up there with Anvil without the big documentary that put Anvil back on the map. They are a cursed band, unfortunately. But this resurgence of bringing, like, Forbidden's coming back. There's all these MOD are coming back with Louis Vitek, my hero, one of my biggest influences. I'm like, holy shit, bruh. So if they get some decent management, they can get on all these big tours because they lap them up in Germany, Because after the fact, Dave Caro said that the internet put Razor back on the map after they'd broken up because of the lack of interest from the standard old school model. But as soon as he said as soon as high-speed internet got in most people's homes and word spread about Razor, and that's why I learned about them. I am walking proof that he was correct because I was on the forums of Thrash Unlimited. Any of you guys, post in the comments if you remember the old Thrash Unlimited days. That's where I found out that Gary from Exodus used on like Scar Spangled Banner and everything because he's like on the forum saying, hi, how's it going? And we were like, what the fuck? And I was like, what did you use on blah, blah, blah. What a great forum. And I was probably talking shit on the forums about Razor, thinking like, what's the big deal? My bad. So good times, man. And I know I don't go underground as much as I used to because recently I've been doing Korn and stuff like that, big bands. I'm working on Faith No More next. I've just found out exactly what they used on Epic on guitar, and I know I've already got the bass amp, the Mark IV that he used on that, and We Care A Lot, the previous one. So we are rocking, man. We are rocking. And the funny thing is, let's talk about gear, since there's still a guitar nerd in me that I'm trying to like force out. I'm trying to exercise it, but it's still in there, so I had to find out. And they used, believe it or not, this actually proves I'm a tone snob, because when I heard them, I was like, I don't like the tone. I don't like this. It sounds like old school. I've heard it all before. Yeah, because they were writing that shit, for everybody was copying. And they used an Araya Pro 2 Urchin series guitar. And get this, those early albums was a Roland Cube. You heard that right, a Roland Cube. And I, for a laugh, thought I'd use my fine china, all right? Like vintage, speaking of Exodus, that is the Langner modded Marshall style that he used, right, with the extra gain stages and stuff like that, modded Marshall on Temple of the Damned. And I went through all my fancy speakers and I tried to fuck it up to sound like a Roland Cube, but I could get nowhere near it. It sounded too classy. And then when I tried to really mess it up, it just sounded fucking shit. Like the Roland Cube sounded better than, the good shit. But I'll put that at the end of the video so you can have a listen to the abomination. I'm actually tone chasing while I'm doing it, so the guitar's kind of out of tune and stuff, but I think I'll just leave it up there too. And what I was using was the Nimbrini Audio MP1 VST. If you want to get that, you can get 80% off, because I did 2 bands in a row that used the MP1 in the past, like Teleport Negative. So I asked them, can I have the amps? And then they said, hey, if your subscribers want a deal, you can get 80% off anything at the store unless it's on sale. So if you want the MP1, you can get 80% off. The code is in the description. So all the stuff there. What a great company. How good does that sound, man, for a VST? That's what I ended up using on the intro track, was the Nimbrini Audio MP1. And Langner, speaking of Langner, he helped design the ADA MP1. Fun fact, a Roland Cube. So I think it's probably, I'm not sure if the new ones sound like the vintage ones, but that's what he used. So let's hear the man himself tell you.
This is the type of amplifier I used to make Armed and Dangerous through Malicious Intent. So I used this from 1983 to 1986. It's a Roland Cube 60 amplifier. This is the newer version of it, although it sounds exactly the same as the old school version that was available in the 80s. And I'm going to use the Evil Invaders guitar. So I've got the Evil Invaders guitar. This is the guitar that I recorded the album Evil Invaders with. Beautiful vintage heavy butt-kicking guitar. This is an Aria Pro 2 Urchin series. They were made from 1982 to 1984.
So go on over to his YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Go subscribe, go say hi. And if you're a big fan of Razor, you might not even know that he had his YouTube channel up there. You know, tell him to post some more content. I was listening to a really funny tour story that he was on because they were scraping by, you know, and they were on tour and they finished a gig and the promoter did a Spinal Tap on them. He just like legged it with all the money. One of the other members of the band, not Dave, just waged war with the green room, and pretty much he was doing stuff like he doesn't screw a light bulb and then just jam like fish in it, and he took bleach and in the carpet he spelled out the word fag on the carpet in bleach. They just completely fucked up this venue because the promoter ran out on them with the money. So holy shit, that's funny. Imagine that, dude. Imagine owning that club and learning that they did this because the band didn't get paid. I bet you that promoter got lynched after that, you know, because a lot of these clubs are linked with mobs because they were dealing drugs there and stuff like that, you know. So that happened to Exodus when they fucked up a venue after getting the same treatment. The bar was owned by the Yardies in the UK, and if you know who the Yardies are, holy shit. You want to talk about knife fights back in the day? They had knives and guns. So they got in deep, actual, like mortal danger from doing that type of shit in a different venue. So that's 3 now of the big 4. There's a big 4 in Canada, and it's Sacrifice, Annihilator, Voivod, and Razor. And Sacrifice is another one that didn't really make waves in the UK as much as Voivod and Annihilator, which were everywhere. They're on TV and everything. So especially the Alice in Hell. Poor Jeff Waters, man. He is so sick at playing that song, but it's such a banger. You know, it's just undeniably like classic. And I tell you what, witnessing in person in One Nam, I think it was One Nam, I got to see Jeff Waters playing, checking out his right hand and his Van Halen style soloing. And I also got to see Dino play from Fear Factory. It was just me and him in a booth with him chugging at regular levels. Holy shit, he's got a right hand on him. What a player. Nam has been good for me for this channel because I got to see Chris Poland. I got to hear exactly what gear that he was playing. Surprising stuff with Chris Poland too, because he was using a Rockman for a lot of his stuff through a Fender Twin. You wouldn't think of that, would you, on P-Cells, you know? I guess now I'll have to look into Sacrifice to see what I missed. So if any of you guys know what Sacrifice used in the past, let me know. Razor on the road soon. If you need a bass player or another second guitarist, you'd never have a second guitarist, hit me up. I'm in the market now. If you know a band that is looking for a bass player or guitarist, I'm actually better on bass than I am on guitar. I love playing bass. I'm a pick player though. So yeah, for good or for worse, I'm going to play you out with me trying to sound like a Roland Cube with some of the best amplification that's ever been soldered. You guys been awesome in the comments. If you want to check out my other videos, I'll put some other links to Thrash videos in the description so you can check them out. A lot of my videos really don't get shared a lot. So if you would like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, thumbs up. It really helps if you know, it's a free way of keeping this type of content going. All right, chaps, have a good one. You've been great. See you in the comments. I answer most of them. Circle of Town.